Welcome to this video. My name is Scott McGarn. I'm determined to do a series on the human ego, and when we do the right thing, it's not always easy. So I want you to know it's not always easy. I got a lot of pain today. I'm going to do this anyway. Now, have you ever seen the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves? You probably have. If not, you've probably heard of it. In that movie, he's trapped in a false reality. He's actually living in some kind of chamber, and he's imagining all these crazy things in our world. That's a perfect analogy for what I've been talking about in regards to trying to help people to understand the concept of just how bad the human ego is. Okay? Now, I've offered a perspective. I didn't invent the perspective. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm not trying to sell anything. But I know in our lives we have a lot of pain, and the biggest priority can be trying to get rid of it. And I'm helping you and others to do exactly that, and by doing so, I'm helping myself. Okay? In the Matrix, he's struggling to get out of the Matrix. In my life, I'm struggling to get out of this dream. But most people in the Matrix don't know they're in the Matrix. Most people in the dream don't know they're in the dream. Okay, that is not a coincidence. Okay, Keanu Reeves knows what I'm talking about, and he's trying to help you to understand, and I'm doing the same thing. Okay? Now, if you're an athlete, you know how visualization works. You visualize something, okay? You visualize a concept, and you work with the visualization. I'm going to give you a visualization, okay? Imagine you are sound asleep in heaven. You're outside the dream, okay? You have complete understanding and enlightenment, but you're having a nightmare. This is your visualization. You are having a nightmare, and you're trapped in it. Maybe you've been in this nightmare for 10 lifetimes. You imagine a life, you imagine a false heaven, then you imagine another false life, another false heaven. You could be here for 10,000 years, and you're stuck, and you're suffering, and there's nothing you think you can do about it. You might not even be aware of it. Okay, well, most people aren't. Alright? So, how do we get out of the dream? The ego keeps us in the dream. Alright? Whatever we're holding on to, we tend to keep. We're holding on to the ego, all right? Just like an addict holds on to alcohol or drugs or whatever else, you can't get rid of something without letting it go first. And you can't let go of anything until you stop blaming somebody else for your problems, okay? That's how addiction works. It's somebody else's fault. He molested me. He shot my wife. He fired me from my job. This guy ruined my career. That woman broke my heart. And we hold on to that, okay? If I say, all kinds of these terrible things happen to me, and I own it. It's my dream. It's my psyche. If I don't own it, I can't fix it. So by God, I'm going to own it. I'm going to own it right now. In owning it, it gives us the ability to fix it, to resolve it, to let it go. As soon as we actually own it, what was a big boulder starts turning to sand and falling through our fingers. We thought we were going to have to resolve it, but the fact that we owned it, it's kind of gone already. If you've experienced this with previous problems, once you figured out you only really had to own it, and then suddenly it just kind of evaporated, like an ice block turning to water and then it evaporates in the wind. That's how to solve problems. Now I want to focus on this. Think of the ego as an addiction, okay? Now yes, you have to own the problem completely, but there's a second thing that they'll teach you. The second thing is, you got to get rid of it for only one person. Can't do it for your kids. Doesn't work. Sounds like a nice idea, but if you aren't doing it exclusively for you and nobody else, you will never escape the addiction. You own it, and then you get rid of it for one person's benefit only. You. You get rid of it for your own benefit, not somebody else. Not as a favor to somebody else. Don't do it for your kids. Yeah, you wreck their lives. Yeah, well, you got to get rid of it for you and nobody else. You get rid of the ego for your benefit exclusively. Nobody else. Okay? Understanding that fits perfectly with the visualization, because everything in the dream is you. When I wake up from a nightmare, I don't blame somebody else. That nightmare came out of my own head, okay? Everything in this life that you've experienced came out of your own head. I created my friends, my family, my jobs. Every bad experience I had, I created out of my own psyche. That's the visualization. I own it. I want to wake up from the dream, let it go. It was just a dream. That's the perspective. That's what we need to do. Okay? Every single thing in our lives, it's a dream. We created it. You fall asleep, you have a dream, you wake up. You let it go. You don't hold a grudge against something you invented in your dream, unless you're completely insane, in which case maybe you need to get on meds before you do this. If you can wake up from a dream and forgive the characters in the dream, then you can forgive everybody in your life, because it's exactly the same thing. Forgive all people of all things. I've been through some bad experiences, as you have, and the way I did it was, I said to God, I said, and you don't have to believe it, believe in whatever you want. I was saying a prayer, I forgive all people of all things, past, present, and future. I said, I forgive myself. I said to God, I even forgive you, even though you've been a pain in the ass. I forgive you of all things, past, present, and future. I forgive myself of all things, past, present, and future. I forgive everything. The animals, the trees, everything that has ever existed or will ever exist, I forgive. Alright? Now, if we can do that in the totality of the fact that we created all that nonsense in the first place, then we can make it work. That's what we need to do. That is taking responsibility for the nightmare that we're having. Take responsibility for the nightmare, own it completely. That level of acceptance begins the disintegration of the ego. Okay? Forgiving all things completely. That's how we let it go. And the fact that we're doing it only for ourselves exclusively, makes it work, and it stays that way. That's the message I want to share with you today. Alright? Get rid of the ego. This is how we do it. I'm going to wrap it up in the next video. This is going to be a 5-part series on ego. There's a lot more to come. I want to get the point on the ego first, because that's going to be the basis of everything else we talk about. There's a lot more to come. My name is Scott McGarn. Please hit the subscribe button, and thank you for your time.